We're running a bit late, but we'll make up the time during the coffee break. It's my great pleasure to introduce to you Leigh Graves Wolf from Michigan State University. I first met Leigh a couple of years ago when we did an edupunk session together at Learning Without Frontiers in London, and we met about an hour beforehand and then did the session in front of quite an audience actually, and I was impressed with her then. That's why I've invited her back this year to speak at the conference, and she's moving amongst you as we speak. She's at the back over there she is.
Hello.
And I'm just going to hand straight over to Leigh. So welcome, Leigh Graves Wolf.
Good morning. I'm passing out manipulatives. Is that word used in the UK as well for elementary level? Things that you can touch. You should sort of glob into groups of 2 or 3. And there's some extra bags back there. Does everyone have visible access to a bag and a group of small people to work with? All right. So what you're going to be participating in is a massively multiplayer quickfire challenge. And I'll explain what that is in a bit. Did anyone open the bag yet? It's only a direction. Do not open your bags yet until I say go. Please, please, please. Inside of your bag, you will find directions. I'm also going to put them up on the screen here. And you're going to have 5 minutes as a group to make as many pelicans as you can out of what you have inside of your bag. Now, there's some very interesting things. That my own personal challenge is that everything in the bags I brought through TSA security and did not get flagged. And once some of you open the bags, you'll go, oh my goodness, I brought this all the way over from America. So, are you ready? Wait, did I say go? Go. There's a group here if you want to join. Yeah, you can join these guys, or there's some more groups down here.
You've given us the weirdest combination.
You got quite a crowd here, actually.
I did. That's good. That's good. I was so worried about having the right amount of materials. So
but I think you've got about 100 people in here.
Okay. Now you know why I kept asking how many. I was like, okay, I need to distribute.
There's some more coming in. Oh my gosh. Hi guys.
So people are in groups. Just find a group to join.
Find a group to join.
Find a group to join. Yep. Just there's more room down in the bottom right.
Oh, okay.
We're doing hands-on. This might be a group right here that's got only a few people.
Yes, I agree.
Clock is ticking. 3 minutes.
but you would be able to do it.
There's some groups of 2 down that way.
Okay.
We can reuse things or we have to conserve.
Read the directions.
Industrious action.
I know, right? Oh, there's some beautiful ones. So there's clay, glue, super glue, wire. I'm like, I'm gonna get arrested. I swear I was gonna get arrested. I brought all the scissors, 6 pairs of scissors.
In your cabin, not in your hold luggage. It's all right, isn't it?
Yeah, no, carry on, carry on.
You're in on carry on.
Yeah, carry on. I know.
I've already made copies there, so whatever we have here.
Good one, you there. That's going on my blog.
Time is up, hands off. No more, no more. Challenge is over. Challenge is over, just like the kids. Pencils down, or crayons, or glue, or wire. This was all carry-on, by the way. Okay. How many of you made 0 pelicans? Be proud. 0. Weren't able. Your group, you made 0, oh, but the group made a. Every group made a pelican, at least one. Okay. Anyone make 5 pelicans or less, or pelicans? About 5. 5. Between 5 and 10. Between 5 and 10. Anyone make more than 10? Oh, wow. What an industrious group of people. All right. I cannot wait to see the pictures of these shortly. So if you read the directions, which was an important part of this, more than 15 already competition. Oh, more than 50. You made 50?
We made digital copies.
Oh, no. Disqualified. Disqualified. All right. No, but if you read, again, the important part here was the directions. What were the constraints? Only the materials that were in the bag that you were given. That was the directions. You could only use what was given to you in the bag. Important, this will all come around full circle. So one night, I was at home watching television, relaxing, which I don't get to do very often. And my side passions are food and food photography and anything culinary related. So we have a show in the US, I think they replicated it over here, usually it's the other way around, called Top Chef, something like Master Chef, like that. And in Top Chef, they have something called a Quickfire challenge, where the chefs are randomly put into groups and they have to cook something using a certain number of ingredients, or they've got these time constraints. And I thought, this would be an absolutely wonderful idea to co-opt for my teaching. I teach educational technology at Michigan State University. I teach teachers, so you, in essence, are the types of people that I teach in my work. I teach teachers from across the career span. It's a master's in educational technology, so they have finished their undergrad, but we have some students that come directly out of undergrad, so I have students that are in their early 20s, and I also have late career retired educators that just have that passion for lifelong learning all in the same classroom, and it's a phenomenal experience. And it also presents some challenges from an instructional point of view because we have so many different varied conceptions and understandings, not just of technology, but of pedagogy, how we teach, and the content knowledge that we teach as well. And so we try in the program to create opportunities for these different types of learners to interact. Now, the Quickfire challenge at the core, if we had to put core competencies around this activity, 2 would be failure, or number 1 would be failure, which I'm not sure how many, we have something called Common Core in the United States, but if you look at standards, I don't know any standards that actually have failure as something that should be acquired, and iteration. So many times we're used to turning in a paper, and that's it, it dies. A lot of you, we've talked this whole week about the importance of failure, the importance of creativity. And one thing that I've found I've had to do with my teachers, does anyone else teach teachers in the room or professional development type scenarios? Some of the most difficult groups of people, not in a bad way, difficult in the sense that to tell a teacher that they failed at something hits you like literally in the gut, right? Because your teaching, your passion is so personal, and you're not supposed to fail. You get in trouble if you fail. You won't get rehired. You won't get all sorts of things that are entrenched around this idea of failure. But there's absolutely no way that we can progress and become educators if we don't fail. So this idea of the Quickfire Challenge allows a safe way for students to fail, in a sense, and it's structured throughout our master's program experience so that by the end of the 3 years that they're with us, the goal is to learn to love failure and iteration and making that a core piece of your being, because that's how we actually become inspired and learn to change. There's no way that something could be right at the first time. It's very rare that that would happen. But a lot of times that first draft of something, the first draft of a paper is so painful, right? Especially for those that, like me, I'm not a huge fan. Writing is not my forte. So getting to that first draft of a major piece of writing is so hard. And then you pass it on to a peer and it gets all marked up. And I've learned myself through doing these Quickfire challenges and through coming to appreciate more the idea of iteration. For me, I do that through food and through cooking. And learning that that's a part of the process, lifelong process of learning to love.
Hi, I'm Noah Scaven, and I made a skull a day for a year.
So this is Noah. Has anyone heard of Noah Scalen before? He is a guy who's fairly creative, and to challenge himself, he felt he was in a creative rut. So he one day randomly decided, I'm going to make a skull a day. So Alec had talked about taking a picture of himself every day as a creative act. Noah made a skull a day, posted it online, and it's turned into this incredibly large project. And the point here, and the reason I specifically asked you to make as many PELeCONs as possible, is it because it takes that mass volume of crap sometimes to pick out pieces of the good throughout things. And on my blog, which I'll post at the end, I've got links to some of Noah's work and how this is the other thing that I just love about this spirit of social interaction and community. This one idea has morphed into a tremendous global project for people. So there is, since we all come from, most of us, the academic world as well, we have to impose some theory on this. And Jack Mesereau is an adult learning theorist. And we can also, being academics, debate the value and validity of some theories. But I think that the transformative learning theory is a nice one to place on top of the Quickfire challenge because of sort of the framework that you're looking at on the screen here. The Quickfire challenge itself is a disorienting dilemma. How many keynotes do you walk into and you're asked to, boom, go do something right away, right? It's hopefully a different thing that you've experienced. And then through all these changes and things that you're experiencing, you're reforming ways of thinking, which, especially when it comes to teacher professional development, is a large challenge for that population that we deal with. So as educators teaching teachers, thinking about these ideas and how we can create experiences around that is very important. And I have found this, this framework very helpful in my own teaching. So as I mentioned, in coming up with these ideas for challenges, if anyone had read my blog post before coming here, our master's program was actually at University of Plymouth for several summers. So I was privy to Channel 4 and the F Word and sort of fell in love with Gordon Ramsay, which I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. And specifically the show The F Word, because I was looking at it through a teaching lens, and as rowdy and raucous as Gordon can be, I truly felt that he was really honestly caring for the students, the chefs in the kitchen. The anger and the way that he taught, which is completely the opposite of me. If you ask my students, what kind of teacher is Leigh? Oh, she's so nice, she's so caring. So I think I saw in Gordon sort of that other rebellious side of me that I don't have, that, oh my gosh, I could never tell someone to bleep off or do this or that. I just couldn't, but wow, he really like motivated people by doing that. So in seeing that, I thought, well, in this Quickfire challenge idea, it's sort of a safe zone because there's no grading involved with it. That gives me a chance to be a little rowdy and say, you know that pelican? Yeah, it doesn't look like a pelican, come on. And then that then opens up the venue to do that in other work that's more, what do you want to say, that's higher risk, say something that is graded. It allows an avenue as well for more constructive feedback on ideas, which are the hardest thing, I think, from an educator's perspective to really challenge, because they are so personal and so deep. And then Martha Stewart as well, keeping everything neat and tidy, as you can see in the bags that you had and all that. She's a bit of an inspiration as well. And that's Noah Skalin there on the right, who I had the opportunity to meet a couple months ago at a conference. And he's holding a little elephant, which is my friend Lafayette, who travels with me. He's sort of my other side project. And he is a little stuffed animal. Do they have Flat Stanley here? Have you heard of that project where it's just a piece of paper and you take pictures of him with famous landmarks? Well, my sort of side creative project is Lafayette, and I take him all over the world with me for my nieces and nephews, and I write a book every year so that they can see where I've been. And it also gives me the opportunity, because I think I'm of the Oprah generation of self-care, taking care of yourself, and how important that is, that when I come to places like this or when I go to conferences, it's a way of getting out of that venue as well and seeing the world around me. Because a lot of times we don't take the time to do that, which is important, again, for professional development. So here's a few other Quickfire challenge examples. The first one, we do this at the very beginning of the students entering the program, and it's a personal learning network Quickfire. And what we ask the students to do is just what's on the screen here, is to visualize your personal learning network. Now, you notice I specifically don't mention any tools, because I don't want people to say, use PowerPoint, or what, and they'll always ask me, what do I use? What should I do? Whatever's around you. Whatever's around you, pick it up and use it. And you have to represent your network visually in 20 minutes. So the important thing there, again, is that time constraint issue. So we've got this example here, which I think is absolutely beautiful. It takes explanation, but this was a student that wasn't necessarily 100% comfortable with technology right away, gets frustrated with it, and she said, I just don't want to use the computer. So I didn't say you had to. So she did this beautiful piece of art, and she's got different characteristics of her network, and depending on how tightly bound the actual piece of paper is the representation of how far or close away it is in her network. It's just this really complex conversation that we got into about networking. And then we had some more students that were more comfortable with just pencil and paper, and it's starting to think about how you're connected. So these are also deeply connected to the issues that we discuss in class and in learning. Stop motion. Has anyone done stop motion video before? It's getting easier. I just heard of an iPad app the other day that you can connect it and boom, it's like 3 seconds. It hasn't always been that easy for those of us that have been along the EdTech trail for a while. And so I was thinking of a way, how can I get my students to learn stop motion without the tutorial going 1, 2, 3, do this, this, and that. So came up with this quickfire of a stop motion haiku. Students were given a haiku that I just randomly found, and they were given half a day, so about 4 hours, to use, again, the materials around them to create a 30-second stop motion video that visualized that haiku. So I'm going to show 2 of those to you. That one, they didn't write the haiku, but it was something like the eyes to my stars, I see the world. And can anyone guess how they did this piece?
They put paper around.
They did. Do you remember? Were you here when we did that? This was actually done up in the Roll building when we were here. So it was another reason I wanted to show this one. There's a connection to Plymouth. But they used an old school technology, overhead projector, to make the lights pop through. So this idea of being constrained to the tools that you have, but the amazing things that you can do with what you have right in front of you. And the other sort of core to this Quickfire challenge is that it turns I can't into I can. So throughout the year then, anyone says, oh, we're going 1-to-1, I'm not going to be able to do this. Well, you made a PELeCON out of glue. I'm pretty sure that you can find a way to do X, Y, and Z. So it really helps challenge those ideas as well. Another quick one, I don't have examples of the actual outcomes of this, but flip cams, great technology, made video really accessible, really easy to do, and also increased the volume of really junky video. My bachelor's is in media and television production, so I'm super sticky about audio and video and not using a tripod, and those are these little things that irk me. So the flip cam, while it opened up this great world, it also opened that other side of the world as well. And so what we do in the flip cam challenge is students are given a topic, and they have to make a 10-second video on that specific topic. So same thing, I would have put people in groups, give them a blank piece of paper, storyboard out your idea in about 20 minutes. So they're talking, blah, 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 blah. I say, okay, is everyone ready? Take your sheet of paper and pass it to the group to the right. Over half, most of the time, of the pieces of paper are blank, right? Because we're thinking, oh, we're in a group, we know what we're thinking, we know what we want to visualize, we have a plan, but it's not written on paper to communicate. And then that other group has to execute the video based upon the piece of paper that they're handed. So in 30 seconds, less than that, a second, we've taught them the importance of storyboarding in video production, which is extraordinarily important to have a vision and an idea to execute. A few more quick ones. Windows to the world. You may have seen these groups out on Flickr. We use an old school technology, a Polaroid, and then you have to take new school technology and superimpose that picture on. So this is a physical piece of paper or picture she's holding against the building, and you have to match up. This opens another huge range of philosophical discussions on how we see the world, but also technical in the sense of camera lens angles and different apertures and all that kind of stuff, so you can get everything in focus the specific way that you want. It also, the students still, this was I think in 09 or 10, some of the students still have this as their Facebook profile pic because it's like a really cool vision. So to sort of wrap up here, my colleague Punya Mishra always likes to say there's no such thing as an educational technology. Users redefine technologies. Does anyone know who this guy is? Claude Levi-Strauss, who's the father of bricolage, piece by piece, taking things together. I've got links to him on my blog post as well. We redefine, we reuse technologies, and this redefinition or repurposing is a creative act, and it's what makes technology an educational technology. And the Quickfire Challenge is one way that we sort of help impose this creative act. So to develop, if you're thinking about doing this in your own practice, impose time constraints, give specific yet vague directions, embed tangible outcomes. That's a very important part because most of our learning is not tangible, and keep learning at the core, and then share it with everyone. So thank you very much for having me. I hope this was enjoyable. That's how you can connect with me, and I really appreciate this opportunity to chat with you.
One or two questions?
Sure, yeah.
Fabulous stuff. That's so creative, wasn't it? Did you enjoy that? Yeah, I thought it was fabulous. Well done. Thank you, Leigh. Time for one or two quick questions, I think, before we go to coffee. Who's got a quick fire question?
Yes, bring them down here. I want to photograph all of them, please. So bring your pelicans down to the front here, and also your scraps of the bags. If you can bring those down too, I'll take care of those. You used the bag, good. I was wondering if anyone did that.
I think it's time to have a coffee break. Please stop the meeting now. And we'll be back here in about 25 minutes.